Kayla knocked on the bathroom door, worried about why Samuel wasn't coming out. Samuel, still struggling inside, shouted back, straining, "I still need to try a bit more." Yep, it looked like Samuel was dealing with some serious constipation. When he finally came out, he told Kayla, "I think I really need to see a doctor. It's been 2 days and I still haven't been able to poop, and I seriously don't feel okay." So Kayla quickly called their family doctor so they could go see him right away. But while they're on their way, let's take a look at what actually happens inside our body when we get constipated. To answer that, we first need to understand how the whole pooping process normally works in our body in the first place. Under normal conditions, food goes from your mouth into the stomach and then into the small intestine, where most of the nutrients and water get absorbed. Whatever is left moves on to the large intestine. So what exactly gets absorbed in the small intestine? Things like sugars, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerol, vitamins and minerals, plus a big portion of water and electrolytes. Basically, the small intestine is designed to grab everything your body can actually use and send it into the blood and lymph. But some things, like fiber and cellulose, can't be absorbed, so they move on to the large intestine, where they actually help out with the next part of the process. Now we move on to the large intestine. The material that reaches the large intestine still contains some water and electrolytes, and the intestine absorbs those too, which makes the stool a bit firmer. Then the gut bacteria in the large intestine take over and continue the process, turning whatever's left into actual stool. After that, it moves down to the rectum and gets ready to be, well, finally pushed out. But what actually changes when constipation happens? If the bowel movements slow down, the contents stay in the colon for a much longer time. That means more and more water gets absorbed from them, so the stool becomes harder and drier, which makes it way harder to pass. Sometimes there's another reason too. If the intestinal muscles are weak or their movements are uncoordinated, the material doesn't move efficiently, and that delay leads to constipation as well. I know you're probably still wondering, what actually causes these slow or uncoordinated bowel movements in the first place? So let's go back to the doctor with Kayla and Samuel to figure it out. Kayla asked the doctor,
"Doctor, how many times a week should you usually poop?"
"How many times should we normally poop to know everything's okay and it's not constipation?" The doctor said, "For an adult, anything from 3 times a day to 3 times a week is considered normal. But you really have to judge it based on your own body. Everyone has their own natural rhythm. However, generally speaking, if someone poops fewer than 3 times a week and also has symptoms like difficulty passing stool, straining, or feeling like they couldn't fully empty, that's considered constipation." The doctor also explained that constipation isn't just about how often you poop. Even if the frequency seems okay, if you have to strain a lot every time, your stool is hard, dry, or pellet-like, you feel like your bowels didn't fully empty, or you even need to manually help things come out,
That's a great question.
yeah, that still counts as constipation. Samuel asked, "So what exactly causes this? I mean, what made me constipated right now?" The doctor replied, "There are actually some pretty simple reasons for it, stuff most of us deal with in everyday life. But what matters is figuring out which one affects you the most. There are about 7 main causes, but I'll keep it short. Listen and see which one sounds like your situation. 1. Low-fiber diet. When there's enough fiber in your stool, it helps hold on to water, so the stool doesn't lose all its moisture and turn hard and dry. But if your diet is low in fiber, the intestine absorbs more water, movement slows down, and the stool becomes harder and drier. 2. Not drinking enough water. Water helps keep your stool soft. The less water your body has, the more your large intestine pulls out of the stool, which makes it dry and hard. 3. Lack of physical activity. When you stay active, the muscles in your intestines move better. But when you're inactive, those muscles get lazy. The stool sits longer, more water gets absorbed, and yeah, you end up straining in the bathroom. 4. Changes in routine or stress. Traveling, stress, or a big change in your daily routine can mess with the nerve signals to your intestines, which affects bowel movement and leads to constipation. 5. Medications. Some medications slow down bowel movements or increase water absorption, like antihistamines, calcium and iron supplements, and several others. 6. Underlying medical conditions. Things like hypothyroidism, diabetes, IBS, or nerve-related gut problems can affect how the intestines and their nerves work, which can cause constipation. 7. Holding it in. If you ignore the urge to poop, like when there's no bathroom around or you decide to wait, the stool just stays there longer, loses even more water, and becomes harder and harder to pass.
Samuel asked. Can't we just have a laxative on hand for times like this? Something that fixes it quickly?
The doctor laughed and said, "You're probably joking, right? First of all, non-drug solutions are always our top priority, like eating more fiber, drinking enough water, and using foods that help your gut. Second, if you use laxatives too often, your intestines can become dependent on them and get lazy without them." He continued, "Instead of relying on laxatives, make sure your diet always includes vegetables, enough water, fruits, oats, and probiotics. And don't forget about exercise." Samuel laughed and said, "Doctor, I think just hearing that made my intestines start working. I need to go to the bathroom right now." So yeah, treat your gut right, or it's definitely going to make you pay for it later. Whew.